Live. We have Buddy Carfano here 2 hours ago, and Danny Boyd. He's asking, Gato Spec?
Yes.
Yes, and he's right here. He was yawning. I caught him in mid yawn.
Chris is here.
Hello, Chris. How are you today? I need the bigger screen.
You have a lot of stuff in your neck.
I know. I'm only wearing the shirt to hang the microphone on. That's it. Oops, I didn't start the pictures. I'll start the pictures since Chris is. What is it that you want?
Chris is starting off the chat with a proper car.
This one's local to me. I talked to the guy about it. He said it's his father's car or something. Silver is not a very common color, especially in our town. Hello, buddy. Thanks for joining us. The sun just burns this paint right off the car. You know, I noticed today when we had the machine delivered, the whole top of the black car is completely faded now. So I'm gonna have to go out there and polish it up and protect it somehow.
Firefly is here.
Hey, Vilefly.
And they're clinging to the ceiling.
Yeah,
Tavo's also here.
that doesn't help. I zapped them anyway on the ceiling.
Tavo's also here.
Hello, Tavo. What's going on? Chris, what do they call these wheels? I need the official name of these wheels. I know they have a name. Good nachos, Dan. We had nachos yesterday, but not good. The cat in the specification has an interesting coloration. Is it in Spanish on yours?
Yes.
What did he say?
El gato de la especificación tiene una coloración interesante.
That's about right. Hello, Barry. Why wouldn't you know what the name of those wheels? They're a very common Volkswagen wheel. Chris.
Firefly is doing fly circles on a dish of salmon.
Salmon. Why would you do that, Firefly? You eat salmon?
Apparently.
The smell keeps me away from stuff like that. Gato's back is already worn out. What's going on in Ohio, Dan? They are called ugly wheel, Tavo says. You don't like the, what is it, 8-spoke wheels? 8-spoke? On the Volkswagens?
What?
You're supposed to read comments.
What? Firefly says salmon dinner tonight. There? That?
Yeah, that. We're having pork chops next tomorrow. You have to do the brine.
Yeah.
Today, right after this. Don't go to sleep.
Chris
It
says
needs at least a day.
Chris says I will have said crab wheels with hey cultural differences in languages.
You don't like those wheels, Chris? I'll make sure they're on the car you buy from me.
Dan says salmon is good stuff, but the last time I bought one, it was heavily salted. Barracuda's here, and they said salmon rush die. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
What? Now you're the one that's distracted?
Salmon is not good.
That says we have a similar style wheel down here called Moonlight.
And there's a few people from Steve Lato's live. commenting on my videos. DG9674 just left me a comment. Well, 37 minutes ago.
Chris says, I do not like those wheels, but I'll see if I can find out their name.
I know they have a name, the design.
Mercury says, and super lights. Dean says, like
Hello, Dean.
2.5. Hi, Dean. And it says, the 2.5 has been detained by a vacuum cleaner, but I'll be in soon.
You want to tell us what you're doing with your vacuum cleaner, or is
great.
that R-rated? Raegers? No, not the ones that were on the Volkswagen.
Pablo says, found a new spice combo from Costco. Hot honey. Not sure how they powder honey, though. Cayenne pepper and honey combo.
That sounds a little spicy for me.
Papa says all in one container.
Would they dehydrate the honey?
Yeah, they dehydrate the honey. They probably deep fry. Deep, uh, they I can't think.
Dehydrate.
No, the freeze dry.
Freeze dried honey? I don't think so. Believe is here.
I believe.
And says the wildfly, we have hot honey at work and I'll eat it, but I prefer my hot and sweet separate. MP wheels? That could be. I only had a few shots of this caddy, but it looks pretty solid, and they're not asking a whole lot of money for it. Pablo says that they're also called MP. Okay, I'll have to remember that.
Oh,
Or kind of a bed cover on it, this caddy. That's got to be custom.
That's gotta be custom.
The bed cover on that Volkswagen Caddy. Chris says, yeah, MP GT8 wheels. They come in many different finishes. I think sweet goes better with garlic than with hot. Stray Bullet's here.
Hey, Stray Bullet. I can see you.
Hello, Stray Bullet. I'm having a hard time finding vehicles you guys haven't seen before, so if there's a few repeats, that's why.
I apologize.
I wanted to say get over it, but
rude.
Exactly. Carlo says hard lids like that are a big thing down here. Yeah, I've never seen one on a Volkswagen Rabbit pickup. Looks like somebody custom made it because it doesn't go over the side of the bed. It's just in the back.
Pablo says sweet as in roasted garlic. Chris says the Duke of Dunedin. Sorry guys, I'm eating something. I haven't eaten.
Mrs. Spec had to go to the. What did you go? Where'd you go this morning?
The clinic.
The clinic, hospital, whatever.
Clinic.
For an X-ray of something.
Yeah.
Dan says a hint of garlic in something sweet, kind of like salt with sweet. Mrs. Spec bought some garlic, but not my thing. When this interior is like in perfect condition, it is stunning. This one is faded. It has black spots on it. Has a little bit torn. Still would be comfortable to drive though. You're not getting tired in that seat. Firefly never thought of that. So next week it'll be garlic and sweet. There's emoji, so you have to read that.
Hold on. Dean says the Dukes of Psalm wind.
I don't know what those two emojis are.
It's a psalm wind and leaves blowing around, I think. I don't have my glasses on.
Dan says, I never thought M&Ms and Fritos would go together, but they sure do. Are those Fritos without the taste? Or do they have some kind of taste on it? Because the ones we have here have lime on them. And the one I got a bag from the U.S., no taste at all, no, nothing like that, and I could not eat them. They were like they were tasteless. Firefly tilts his head quizzically. I've seen dogs do that. Dean, think of me as less rich, dyslexic Duke of Windsor with similar predilections.
Chris says, I think the English translational unit is ready to go. Just needed to raise the sails to power it up. Firefly says, plain Fritos, all salt.
The ones that I had didn't even have much salt on them. It was bad.
Dan says, Fritos and M&Ms are rich. A little goes a long way.
Fritos are what I buy here. They're they have the salt and they have the lime flavor. It's a 55-gram bag for 10 pesos. So that's a little over 50 cents. So it's not bad. Not a bad price. It's Lexus? It's Lexus, yes.
It's like,
Terry said. Dan, corn chops, I'm assuming chips, leave me feeling bloated if I overdo them. Probably the salt more than the chip itself.
yeah. Or the oil if they're fried and not baked.
Yeah. Stray Bullet got chased down twice by these Mustangs. What were you driving, Stray Bullet? What were you driving?
The police says it wasn't fair. Firefly says, pork chops breaded in cornbread. Haven't made breaded pork chops in a while.
Nah, we don't need it. We don't need that. You just have to get rid of the breading to get down to the meat. Chris says to Stray Bullet, well, you should have been driving a faster car then. Dan's Mustang is black. You painted it black? So over the black, you're going to paint the dark red? Although I prefer lamb chops to corn chops. Most interesting. I was going as fast as I could, Chris. Firefly says, Boyd has been holding out on our recipe list. I bought a brand new 94 Mustang triple, no, it had gray interior, but white car, white roof, GT in late 93 when they first came out. And I was driving back from Oregon down through Utah, came over a little hill, and there was a cop right there. Of course, he got me at 90, which happened a lot. And he comes to my right window. I roll it down. He's looking at the interior of the car and he says, I sure do miss my Mustang, because he was in a Crown Victoria, like a 10 times the size of a Mustang. But they couldn't use the 94 Mustangs because of the interior design. So he's like, I really miss my Mustang. Dan loves lamb chops. I'm not a fan.
I've never tried them.
Dean, infamous for abdicating the British throne so they could marry a twice divorcee American. Yep, he screwed up in many ways. Gray Bullet, one's in my Cutlass and one's in my Turbo Coupe.
Dean, Dean says they look great on Elvis. Dan. Bob is laughing, and Dan says Elvis rocked.
Many times.
Dan says Barfly, when printing, do not pull your head off. Wow. Glenn Nickerson's here,
Hello, Glenn.
and Glenn Nickerson says, "Give me the Crown Vic."
This was a Utah Highway Patrol guy, which means he had a long way because I was way out of Salt Lake City, so his Mustang tracked down people faster than the Crown Victoria. So I'm sure that's why he liked it. Takes a while to get the Crown Vic up to speed on the highway.
Barracuda says Costello. Dean says, "At least he found something he liked." Pablo says, "Hey, Dean, that video was crazy." Dean says EAP Barracuda, but I don't want to spell it out for you. To you.
57 Chevy. This one's here in Mexico. It says it's a 210, but it's a two-door hardtop, so I'm not sure if it's correct. I don't know if they made a two-door hardtop 210. Dean says he went hungry, Vilefly. Poor thing starved. And Dan is screaming at somebody. Beware of turbo cams. They deliver mucho volume. So if you get too close, you'll get mucho runs. Now I'm doing much DA work. Oh, you're talking about the spray cans to paint your car? Yeah, the word turbo gives it away, Dan. It's going to come out really fast. Stable says the only redeeming factor was knowing the cops were uncomfortable as hell in those Mustangs. They loved them though. The guys that had them loved them. They get used to them. There's a guy in Florida that they have a Coral Springs police. It's he hasn't been on lately. He wasn't on Tuesday, but he has a new Mustang that he stops people with, speeding and everything. In order to get out of the car because he has all of his equipment in, he has to lift up his left leg, put it down. That gives him the, I guess, like a push to get out, to be able to get up and out of the car. I'd like to know that when he gets into his personal car, does he still do that when he gets out of his personal car from muscle memory? Glenn, when with my aged body, a Crown Vic would be my choice instead of trying to pry myself into a Fox body. Yeah.
Steven Andrews is here.
Hello, Stephen Andrews.
Dice, hola, Mr. Spec, Mrs. Spec, and hola, Gato Spec.
Gato Spec is asleep right now, but I'm sure that'll change when he hears his name.
No, he's not even waking up with food. I'm eating, so.
Yeah, he's laying here. His head is upside down, so he's asleep. Firefly. In college, we had fun with a cop and a Crown Vic. All of us automotive students, always blew past him as a group playing NASCAR. He would only catch the slowest of us because he was not that fast. He's got friends, though. Dan, you know a paint job is going to turn out good when you have to begin your color sanding with 150 grit on the DA. You have to go through a lot of sandpaper that way, though. The game was called Slow Ticket. Today they would just impound the car. All of you guys who are racing, they're going to impound the car. Any people they stop, they're going to impound it, and you're not going to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Danny boy, stakes are too high for that game. I put Mach 1 on this, but I'm not sure if it's a Mach 1 or just a sports roof. Could be either way. The cop knew the game, though. Why didn't he go to school and tell on you? Stephen Andrews was just back from the car show in downtown Centralia.
Oh, he woke up.
Told you. I told you. The name got into his dream, and his dream told him, hey, wake up, they're talking about you. Right? Is that what happened? Yes. I don't have food. Turn around.
He saw me.
Those Crown Vics would do 140 plus. Otto Spec has chewed through the internet cable. Not him, but others. What? I don't have any food. Stay there. Stay there. Yeah, go over there. And
Excuse
Firefly
me.
said our cars did 150. 150. Dan bets his Fox will hit 150, but I wouldn't want to be in it when it does. Glenn, if I wasn't up to my neck in projects, I would love to convert my Crown Victoria into a Cobra drivetrain with a 5-speed manual. Is that all they had was 5-speed manuals? Kitty. You're a kitty. Chris says you're a kitty.
Pablo says it actually hasn't wasn't one of those alleged what alleged convicts. I need my glasses. Why am I reading about my glasses?
That's a good question.
Dan says my S-197 is probably governated.
Governed. Yeah, I'm sure it is. My Camaro Z28 was governed to 106.
That's not what this says.
It shut me down at 106. That's not what he says, but that's what he meant. It shut me down at 106, and my dad's Cadillac took off to 150. I couldn't keep up, and I was driving the sports car. He's driving the old man's car. It was embarrassing.
Fernando says guy at show had swapped a '63 Ford wagon with a Crown Vic chassis.
But that takes all the. I wouldn't want to do that. That takes all the charm out of the car.
Pablo says 150 miles per hour in a '78 Camaro with a 50 series tires wasn't
a bit touchy. Yeah,
was a bit touchy.
I can imagine.
Pablo says the speedometer went to 145.
You're not on live chat, are you?
No, commercial, sorry.
Gray Bullet says, my stock engine Bullet Mustang will bury the 150 mile per hour speedometer. Not sure how fast it will actually go.
And what's on live chat? I saw Straight Bullet at the beginning. Chris says, old man's not full, low.
Yeah, we left Los Angeles at the same time. It took him 2.5 hours to get to Vegas, and he had a Mercury Grand Marquis on his tail the whole time. The whole time. 150 miles an hour.
Dan says,
that was the North Star, too.
Always wanted me a first or second gen F-body, but never got it. Steven Andrews too is here.
Hey, Steven Andrews too. Why is Uno not here? I put this one in here for him. And no, it had no price. There was no price listed. Imagine him driving that around Canada.
For Uno.
Yeah, it's 15 years old, so he can import it into Canada. Not a common color either.
Pablo says the Northstar engine ran good, but it leaked good too.
He never had any trouble with it at all. It was a 95 STS, and he ended up trading it in on a Lexus ES250. And being that the car was in Las Vegas, he had to take it back to the dealership a few times because the heat of the Las Vegas sun glued the weather stripping on the doors to the car. So he couldn't get the doors open unless he ripped it open. And then they had to replace them, and it just kept happening, the same thing over and over again.
That reminds me of someone.
It happens on my truck out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to replace a thermostat or a starter in one, Glenn says. No thanks, that's what mechanics are for. But he moved from the Lincoln Mark 7 into the STS, so he went from Lincoln to Cadillac. I think Cadillac offered more power and everything else in the car. It wasn't just a gussied up Thunderbird. The bed with that big cab, but no doubt served its purpose. Yeah. People can choose the regular cab or the extra cab in those. A North Star transplanted into a '78 Camaro. Nobody would make that mistake, Dan. The starter was easy, Viafly says. Just remove 4 bolts and take off the intake. Yeah, perfect place for it. Need a little Vaseline on those weather strips. Well, it shouldn't be melting to the car. The car sold in Las Vegas. It should be able to withstand the weather in Las Vegas. There was actually, I think it was Ford's, that they offered you free oil changes, but being that you were in Las Vegas, they shortened the how much time. I think it was every 3 months they would change the oil for you because the car lived in Las Vegas. Dan says or ist. The video didn't start for me. Yep, only 4 bolts had the intake held the intake in most of the time. Mini lights. Again with the empty wheels, not a fan. These are torque thrusts.
I shouldn't even be awake.
Definitely would dissolve the rubber over time. Use silicone grease. Do not react or break down bicycles. Well, they fixed it, but they didn't do anything like that. They handed it back to them, and then it happened again. So you would think the dealership would know how to take care of that since they're servicing other Lexuses or Lexi in in uh, in Las Vegas.
Dan says Continental Kit.
Dan, did you see the name of the car? This is a 72 Ford Galaxy Continental. There was no Lincoln sold in Mexico, so they gussied up this Galaxy with the floor shift and the Continental thing on the trunk and a few other things and sold it as the top of the line car.
Glenn says, so oil changes were a gamble in Las Vegas?
Yes. Very, very hot conditions.
Butterfly says, dealerships and quality do not mix.
Well, then they just have to fix it again. So it was up to them.
So all cars were Fiats?
Not really.
Dean says, Lexi, a throng of Lexus is.
A throng of Lexuses.
Lexus is.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris says, the Butterfly, yeah, I use silicone spray on all of the door seals before winter starts. Otherwise, they freeze shut.
We had the opposite problem in Vegas.
Butterfly says, ooh, a 55 station wagon. Well, they will still seal shut.
You might notice that we're going up. I started in the 50s and found two for 56, and I went up from there. I didn't get to much of the newer stuff in this one, so it's mostly this older stuff.
But the Carapana says, thought they were Daisy rims.
I don't know names of rims. I just drive what's on the car.
Burger says, I can empathize without opinion. Triple says, that wagon would make a good lowrider.
He's just trying to get under my skin.
Can I get under the blanket?
It's your blanket. Do you want the things over there?
No. Yes.
Mrs. Spec has to make more noise. Eating more plastic.
I was being quiet. I was eating quietly. Did anyone hear me eat? I don't think so. I mean, right now because I'm opening the package, but.
Firefly says that wagon looks slightly lowered though. You never know. Depends. It may have the wrong size wheels on it.
Yes, and meow.
Mm-hmm.
He's upset because I didn't give him any food.
Wagons need chrome bumpers. I agree, Bear. I agree, buddy. But when they're faded or whatever, I've done the same thing. Just paint over them because we have chrome shops in Mexico, but the guys using the one in Tijuana says go use the one in Guadalajara. The one you use in Guadalajara says go use the one in Tijuana. So nobody will vouch for the shop that they used. So it's a challenge. I guess the original rims are in the back.
That was glad I'm not doing this stream. Yowie is yowing nonstop.
Tavo, when you scratch your cats and you stop, do they look at you like I didn't tell you to stop? That's what he just did.
Glenn Nicholson says, I want tuna, I want liver, meow meow, please deliver. Is that the
I want tuna, I want yeah, meow mix.
Barracuda says horrible wheels. Butterfly says when it is too expensive to rechrome the bumpers.
It's not expensive here. It's just the quality is horrible. So and people don't have money to spend anyway, so they just paint them and they're done with it. And then he screws into the bumper and puts his license plate like that without getting the license plate bracket.
Chris says my kite is fast asleep upstairs.
I'm sure he'll hear the meowing and come down soon.
Sabo says yes, I get that from kitties here.
And here's a 56 Ford wagon. Which one do you like better, the Chevy or the Ford? Both red and white. I'm a bit more partial to the Ford, although it doesn't have correct taillights on it. Or maybe they are, and I'm just not seeing the depth. Definitely no reverse lights. What are you looking around for?
Food.
Behind the exercise machine? He's following his nose somewhere.
He's looking for food.
You got something in your whiskers.
Don't look at me like that.
Joey, you got something in your whiskers. Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Firefly says, we have a shop cat. I've taught it to grapple and wrestle with me, despite my allergy. Oh, that's nice. Shop cats are good.
Ford wagon, but Chevy if Nomad.
Well, we don't have nomads here.
Triple says the Chevy will make a better lowrider.
Buddy, I would have the Ford, but if not the Ford, I would have a Pontiac Safari because it's a much better car than the Nomad.
Glenn says to Firefly, I got both my bumpers done for my 66 Rambler first, 1,400 for the pair. I was expecting a lot more.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Most Ramblers aren't worth $1,400.
Sabo says, if I don't pull my hand away quickly enough after petting, they'll sometimes catch it and pull it back. Firefly says, Certec is my friend. Is that the name of the cat? Or?
Is that the cat, or is that the medicine that stops the allergic reaction?
Oh, maybe.
The media and TV shows and everything push the Tri 5 Chevys on you, but I think the Ford is a nicer looking car. Starting to get on my don't do that. You will get slapped. What are those emojis?
What emojis? Let me see.
Dan, what is the blue one and the green one?
And the
green
blue
looks
one
like a leaf.
Is the green one is leaves blowing around. The blue one is wind blowing.
Oh, so the wind blowing the leaf. Okay, yeah, now I see it. Dang, the cat house flew away in the wind. You're not in Kansas now, kitty cat Max. A danger taped it to the heavy patio. Firefly says the cat's name is Bucky, a fat male cat, so it likes to grapple. You want to wrestle, Joey?
I don't think Joey likes to wrestle.
No. But ever since he's come in here, if I'm petting him, he'll put his teeth on me, which is not allowed. So I'll grab one of his teeth, and he doesn't like that. Chris says a four-door Fiat 500. You sure that isn't a 600? That's just what the thing said. That the ad said. They didn't have four doors back then in the Fiat 500. The 600, I think, was a bigger car. But he asked, what year Tri-5 you think looks the best? I like 56. 55 doesn't have the special tail light gas thing. Bring us something good, Firefly. Dean is asking a question you have to read.
1 second. Let me see. Dean says, do male cats like to gripple? Seems like plenty of scope on a female cat.
I
I don't
don't. I don't think
understand.
there's an answer to that.
What is nipple gripple?
I don't know. Old McDonald is here. Hello, Old McDonald. Thanks for joining us. Now you want to go out? I will put out the cat and bring in the dog. Oh, put out the cat, bring another cat. Cat hair everywhere. Barry's asking Dean what he did. The guy has a price on this Biscayne like it's an Impala. He wants lots of money. It's sure it's a nice car, but it's still a Biscayne.
Hmm.
I only put the prices when I thought it was something that you guys would like to see how much they're asking for these things here.
Dean,
Go ahead.
Dean says nothing. Cats are out of bounds. Oh, the patio chair. I tied the catty hutch down. Support. Support.
He's got the tail lights on backwards. That's not bright. Not smart. That doesn't
Somebody
even look
says,
good.
somebody says, those are 1 year only cars.
Yep. All of the 50s cars were 1 year only cars. American cars, anyway. Those foreign people made the same car for many years at a time. Definitely not an Impala. No, I don't want to hear from you either. And newer wheel covers on it, which need to go. First thing needs to go. You just don't do that on a 58. Yeah. Do a close up picture of your wrong tail lights. Ay, ay, ay.
That says, for 58, we only got the Biscayne down here, and that was more luxurious than anything else, mainstream. Jag, Rolls-Royce, etc. excluded.
It looks comfortable, but it's still a Biscayne, the bottom of the line car.
Mark Sobe is here.
Oh, hello, Mark.
Chevrolet says 55 and 56 Chevy are the same body.
They don't have the same trim, though. The trim is what makes the cars. Oh, it's got its radio in the dash still. Okay, I will scratch your head and now go away. Go away.
Dan says radio is backwards.
Maybe the pictures are backwards. That is very possible. You know what the radios in Mexico don't have? They do not have that little green dot on the AM radio dial, which is where you tune it if there's an emergency in the country. They didn't put those on the Mexican radios.
Hi, Mark. Chevrolet says 58 was a complete body change that only lasted 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Dan says Connell Rat. Oh, McDonald says howdy. Bartolo says 55 is slightly narrower than 56 or 57, isn't it? Dean says peak wind gusts in Dunedin have reached up to 74.56 miles per hour so far today, Sunday, 23 August 2026. driven by strong westerly changes following morning showers.
Thanks for the weather report, Dean. This is more my kind of car, the 58 Cadillac. Like I was saying on the last live, I drove one of these. It was a hearse, a very low mile hearse. I did not like the brakes, the way the brakes felt on it.
Trouble is, I think that the grill was the only major difference, Barry. Dean says DEFCON 1 marks Mexico sector. Chris says to Dean, so today would be a bad day to hang your sheets on the clothesline to dry. Trouble says 57 is obviously different.
Very different.
Dean says for Raikuda that is 120 kilometers per hour. That was almost a nice spring day outside here, perfect for gardening.
You guys are into spring already?
Oh my god, says never heard of that green dot.
It's on. Look at it. Look at an AM radio. It's right around the 5, 6 on the AM radios.
That
All of
says
them.
LS. I don't know what LS is. Dean says they are quad triple peg. They are still out. Butterfly says, okay, back. Anyone ever see the movie Strange Invaders? It looks like it might be weird enough to watch. No me suena.
No,
That says
me either.
Conrad Dots.
Oh, okay.
Mark says to oh my god, same.
I don't think Connell Red is the right word.
Tribble says could get fuel injection as an option on the 57 Chevy.
Yeah, the Chevy, not the Cadillac. See, they wrecked this whole car with this engine.
Buddy Carafara says, I love you for your pink Cadillac. Butterfly says, by the way, that intake on the Cadillac looks strongly vaginal.
In that color?
Dean says, oh yeah, those Juan's Danny Boyster. That was says, not officially spring, just a day like it is spring.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Then it's still blowing leaves. Oh, commercial.
Chris says to Tavo, we get those teaser spring days here too. Then we get 3 feet of snow the week after. That's because Mother Nature hates humans. Stephen Andrews says there were two symbols on some radios. Some were the CD triangle symbol. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But they didn't have that on the Mexican radios. Mexican radio? Nope, they didn't have them. Kind of odd to see after my whole life because I have one in my '63 Plymouth I got from the U.S., so it does have it.
Double says, made it drivable without the boat anchor caddy.
The 365 was not a boat anchor. It was a very smooth engine.
Dean says, Conrad dots, more accurately, small triangles or city marks, are vintage civil defense symbols printed on the U.S. AM radio dials between 1953 and 1963.
Just 63? Wasn't it on the 68s as well? There was something there.
Dan says, Chrysler used Brad's hogs for Conrad markers.
Mm.
Dean says, copied from an infallible source.
Infallible.
Butterfly is watching Stranger Invaders.
Who's doing the invading and who's getting invaded?
Dean says, not found on Mexican radios.
Mexican radio, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah, shut up, the two of you.
Who's gonna get tired first?
Me.
We had to be able to tune into the emergency channel in case the Ruskies nuked us. That's exactly what it was for, Stray Bullet. Didn't have to use it though.
Dan says Conrad carried on into the 1970s.
I remember it on the dashboard of my '68 Galaxy.
McDonald says just car radios or household ones too. I used to repair radios and TVs back in the day.
Probably was on everything. because they could attack when you were at your house. Oh,
Tabo says you had to be someone special to afford a car radio here in the 50s.
really?
Dean says yes, wall of voodoo. Margaret says had thunder here last night. The dog reacted by emptying his bladder on the carpet and kitchen floor.
We had when I had my pack here. We're down to one dog now. We had Nikki and we had Jack, and they were scared of loud noises, not because it was thunder or anything, but when I lived in the other house, I would let them out at nighttime and they would roam all over the neighborhood and bring trash bags back and stuff. Both of them were shot with BB guns, and the BB stayed inside them. So I think that was where they got the fear of the sound, because they actually felt something when they heard that sound. So even always after that, the thunder, I had to go in there and calm the dogs down or put a radio on loud so they didn't hear it as much.
Firefly says Strange Invaders is set in the 1950s. Apparently, alien invasion films is seen.
Set or made in the 50s?
Set. Al McDonald says yes, Barracuda. Blame it on the dog. Blow. Dean says at least you didn't have the fires like they did in Alberta Hall Town. Oops, Alberta Town. Dean says they say it's very big like the Alberta Hall. Firefly says yep, the movie has a theremin spooky sounds in the title sequence.
Oh, so it's not done in the 50s.
That was to Barracuda. Be thankful. X's dog empties via the other hole during thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
Barracuda says fires in Albertown.
Our dog either that we have now either can't hear the thunder or doesn't care. He does not get freaked out like those did. I realize dogs' ears are sensitive, but
Barclay says, oh, now it jumps 38 years later, 1988 or so. Chevrolet says that truck has a first generation fuel injection engine swapped in.
yeah, most of the cars this guy has some kind of engine swap, except for the K5 Blazer that's coming up next. Guess he just likes the 350 or something.
That was as my mutt stands out in the yard and barks at thunder.
See, he's defiant. Good. He'll tell the thunder, go away. Go away. When it's thundering and lightning out there, I have to go outside and get the damn cats in. Or they stay out there.
Barracuda says at least that tends to be easy to pick up, Tavo.
Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, Barry. Depends what the dog's eating.
Firefly says nice truck. Or if it's stressed. Chevrolet says I think I'd rather have a carburetor.
Me too.
Tavo says not when it's liquid. I'll stop talking about that. I need to make.
This is a car I've never heard of. I don't know what a Lloyd Alexander is. Maybe you do, Tavo. But I've never heard of this car.
Ah.
It looks fine in the front, and then it looks like somebody cut it off in the back, like it's a gremlin. Don't know where the car's from or who made it or anything else. Hey, watch those nails. Watch those nails.
Did you just call him a cunt?
No.
Papa says Lloyd Alexander. I thought that was an actor's name. Chevrolet says
It could be both.
Chevrolet says this car is kind of cute. Papa says looks rare.
It probably is. You find weird things in Mexico. Don't know where they came from or how they got here.
That was says yes. Lloyd were sold down here, made by Bogart little brothers to the Isabella.
Oh, okay. That gives them some kind of history.
But it says I thought Lloyd was the Secretary of Defense under the first Bush administration. So Willie says, "Ooh, a Lloyd? Aren't they made of cardboard?"
I don't think so. It looks pretty sturdy for a little car.
Dan says, "Never trust a car with two first names." Last night I helped a person that had a weird name. I think it was Indian,
Mm-hmm.
but it had the first name the same as the last name. So
I've seen something like that here in Mexico.
mm, let's
Not
say,
the first name, but somebody from the Santos family marries somebody in another Santos family, and then the kid is whatever Santos.
yeah, but it was like the same. It was like, let's say the name was David, so
Mm-hmm.
it was David.
That's a cruel trick to play on your kid.
Yeah.
It's a four-cylinder Biofly. Bravo rarely ever saw any sedans like this. Most were wagons. Oh, it'd be interesting to see what it looks like in a wagon.
Chris
Because
says,
those taillights are like an afterthought in the back. Let's just glue them to the top of on the side of the trunk. We forgot to design them in.
Chris says, I used to work with a guy named Thomas. This name,
That's just a lazy parent.
this name was weird though. It was Indian, so it
Yeah,
was
it was
like really
Indian.
weird.
They have very long names.
Yeah. Tribble says, maybe it's the Lloyd minivan I'm thinking of. Papa says, that's just bad naming for the from the parents.
Yes, it is. It's lazy. We took some time thinking about our son's name.
Old McDonald says, that round box of fast side of engine is the squirrel cage where the mice run and turn the crank.
If that's what's needed to get it up the hill, then they designed it correctly.
Papa says, that's like Termin Mermin from Bad Santa. Fergus says, the Tom Tom Club.
I had a neighbor in Vegas, right next door neighbor. He named his daughter as two names. That he said she could use the first name if she wants, she can use the second name if she wants, or she can use the first initials for both names and called MJ or whatever her initials were. So they thought it out, give her choices on her name.
Tribble says, my great grandmother used to have a DeSoto.
That's a car that I've never had. I never had a DeSoto.
Papa says, the turn signals look like a grenade launchers in front.
Mhm.
Policarpano says, like the taillights. Papa says, nice interior.
I went to look at I think it was a 60 Chrysler Windsor, and I turned it down because it was a manual transmission on the floor, and I wanted to push buttons. I was so stupid. That would have been a very, very rare car with a manual transmission on the floor.
Chris says to Butterfly, 50 cal machine gun. Stray Bullet says, I can remember riding it as a small child. Regular says, I knew of a bus driver called Swerving Mervin.
I wonder how he got that name.
Butterfly says, never saw a falcon like that.
Well, this is a 61 Falcon, just like any other, but it has the Mexican bars on it to protect the tail lights and stuff. Basically the same car everywhere. This one's just in a really nice condition.
Glenn says, enlighten me about the falcon spec.
It's an inline six, probably a 3 speed on the tree, and very yellow. They did everything but the seats. The seats look like they still need to be redone. That plain vinyl is not what it came with from the factory. And it looks like they did the door panels in the darker, so it probably find the same fabric for the seats. But it's a very clean car, 4-door sedan.
I think the upholstery was made of rotten hides or something.
In the DeSoto,
Like the bumpers are so weird.
gotta protect those taillights and headlights.
Bullet car furnace has never understood why people name their kids after cars.
People like their cars.
That was
Tanner is engaged to a girl named Shelby.
that was a, those bumper loops are very distracting. But like a safety car.
It wasn't so much that; it's just that when that car was made in 1961, you know, you had to protect yourself. There's nobody that's going to protect you. So to find parts for a car like that, those overriders were very common on a lot of different cars for protection, and they work.
Dance's newer coolant overflow.
Are you back on live chat? Trey
Uh,
Bullet says Mercedes and Lexus are popular stripper names.
oh,
Anybody want a Corvette with a newer engine for 3 million pesos?
can I go to sleep now?
Barry says I want to call my daughter Lola, but her indoors wouldn't allow it. Indoors,
In-laws or in-laws?
his daughter
But
wouldn't have a
in-law,
in-laws.
yeah. Uh,
The big powerful 144. Yeah.
maybe his,
Firefly says okay. The zip up cover for the spare was cool.
maybe the Barracuda's in-laws.
I don't know. CD Burlock is here.
Hey, to the Bulldog, can I go to sleep?
Durango window won't go up. It's Saturday Sabbath for it. Yeah, I'm having trouble with my windows too. Fixed the left front, and the very second that job got done, the left rear stopped working. It's just that time that it needs everything. I still haven't fixed the stalling problem either. Chris says, wait, I shouldn't have named my son Borgward? No, you shouldn't have. Shouldn't even name a cat that. Barry says, or indoors, trouble and strife. Or indoors is a term for trouble and strife. I'm not getting it. I've got a cat on my lap, a very heavy cat. I'd give 60,000 for that Corvette. Would you with that engine? Unfortunately, I can't sell it because it has an engine swap in it.
Mm,
I think it would be over 60 grand since the exchange rate is 16 something right now. That's what they came with, Wildfly, and it was transparent in the back, so the sun lights up your speedometer. I will imagine what we could do collectively to their minds, Barracuda.
Daddy,
What?
can I go to sleep?
Turn your microphone off. You don't want everybody hearing you snore. I don't either. Are you very comfortable, Danny? There's no way you're telling a cop and when you're speeding in this car, I didn't know how fast I was going. The speedometer is right in front of your eyes. Chris says to Tavo, meh. You're too far away to do scanners on us, international date line and all that. Well, that's true. I don't think his powers would get this far. Firefly says, "What a dash that shines like justice." Chris says, oh, I already read that. 62. Damn. Yes, 62 Ford. Very good at trouble and strife, wife, rhyming slang, like steak and kidney for Sydney. Dean says, Mrs. Ecstasy is testing the smoke alarms. I said zzz. Firefly, Officer Bob, you know how fast you were driving. Yes, it's right in front of your face. Chris says to Dean, because she's cooking or because she's just smoking hot? Dean, Cockney rhyming slang. I saw a video on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but it was Lisa Kudrow being interviewed by somebody, and the title of the video is "I'm a 56-year-old Valley girl." I'm like, oh my god! First of all, you're not 56. You're older than I am, and I'm in my 60th year. Or she said she was 58. She's older than I am. She was like 2 or 3 years ahead of me in school, right? Is it ahead of me when it's before? I think it's ahead of me. Firefly eyes the other covered cars with envious eyes. There's a Volkswagen Beetle there. He says no, the multiple faceted room test for the almost end of the month. This is a very clean car, but people will dismiss it because it's a four-door. Very good at Dean. Do you know what Hempsteads are? Dean, the colony cats are hating it. Colony cats. Look at the VIN there. See where it says 2 MEX? Armado in Mexico, built in Mexico. In the early 60s, they put in the VINs MEX to make sure you know it was a Mexican car. They did that on the 64 and a half and 65 Mustangs as well. They were built in the U.S. but sent to Mexico to be sold. Old McDonald. They use drones with radar here in the States. What about Mexico? I don't think they use drones here. It's not that much of a police state because you know people that do the things they do here. They don't want anybody watching them. Stray Bullet. Maybe she was just smarter than you, Mexican, and got put ahead. No, she's older than I am. She's like 62. Yeah, Lisa Kudrow. She's like 62. If you look her up on Google, it'll tell you what year she was born. I have to know what lot is this. It's not a lot. It's just a warehouse. Hempstead from Hempstead Health. Heath named Peth. Very Kudrow. Hempstead Health. Hempstead Heath. Heath. I'm gonna skip that. Buddy, nobody wants a four-door classic car, but will pay 100 grand for a four-door pickup, and they'll pay big money for chargers too. I only went to kindergarten for a few months before they discovered that I was a genius and put me in the first grade. Same thing happened to me, so I was a year ahead of my classmates all my life. I was the youngest when it came time to take driver education or the driver training in school, I wasn't allowed because I was too young. That's why I had to take it privately just before I got my driver's license. And then of course it was always marked next to my name that I was in the whatever program that was, that I was smarter. And I would have teachers look at that and look at me and go like, "No way," because I never tried. I never did anything. I don't remember doing one day's homework in all of high school. Not one day. And I passed every class and got my diploma. So I don't know. I got through it. Ham Ayers poem. I wish I'd looked after my teeth. Ah, warehouse. Yes. Gray bullet. Then they discovered that they made a terrible mistake and made me repeat the first grade. What? They made you stay in first grade twice? Firefly, unrealized secret genius. We realized that Firefly. Gray bullet. It only got worse from there. There were kids that they gave the test to get into the gifted program, and I never took a test or anything. They just like, oh, just took me out of kindergarten, and put me in first. You had to say the alphabet backwards, which is something I still can't do today. I've never been able to do that. I don't know why that's a sign of intelligence. It's just memorization. But most of them were way smarter than I was. I never really tried in school. Gray bullet. I got held back in the first grade, Mexican. Did you not take your naps when you should have, or what? Did you not finish the work? What was the reason they held you back? Just to put you back with your classmates? It was humiliating. Yes, I'm sure it was. But the second you were first grade, I bet you did better than everybody because you already knew the work, right? You guys ever hear of the 62 Fiat Jeep type thing? You were telling everybody you were a genius. You were still a genius. Doesn't matter what the school says. I never really paid attention to it because the reason I was taken out of kindergarten was because the teacher was a very very old teacher, and she was having the kids sleep most of the day so she didn't have to deal with them. So when we got home, we weren't tired to go to bed when we were supposed to go to bed. So there was huge complaints about that. It's like, why are you teaching him to take a nap? He knows how to take naps. Teach him something else. You're teaching him how to sleep. He knows how to sleep. But then I see on TV um, kindergarten classes. They're actually doing things and learning things and colors and numbers and everything else. That was not my experience. Definitely not my experience. Still graduated high school on time, but it was a struggle. I had everything planned, Stray Bullet. I took my regular classes in the first year, and then I dropped out of geometry in 11th grade, and I went to be a teacher's assistant in auto shop. I had already taken auto shop classes, so he let me be a teacher's assistant in auto shop. And then in my senior year, I took two classes in the morning, had two classes of auto shop, and I usually left after the first class of auto shop and went to work. Nobody was paying my bills. I had an old car habit I had to pay for. Dean. But the modern Hebrew has only 22 characters in the alphabet, Mexican Spectre. You had 18% less work to do than the rest of us. No, it was not that alphabet. Definitely not. Not in Los Angeles. Firefly. Actually, there's a site called Kinder Trauma where people share what movies gave them frights as a kid. Is that a German site? You already put one leg to sleep, man. Ray Bullet. I never fully recover from that kindergarten class. Old man. Arnold Schwarzenegger was his kindergarten teacher. No, mine was an old lady. But in that movie, a friend of mine told me that his girlfriend's son was in that movie. But after all these years, I think he was one of the students in the female teacher's class, just sitting there doing nothing. I don't know what they were doing in the class, but I still have never seen him in there. Firefly. My kid never took naps. Now she tries sleeping all the time. Well, you got to make up for that. Got to make up for it. Ray Bullet. I'm still smarter than almost any recent college student, graduate student. Oh, that's for sure. They think they're smart until they get out into the real world. Dean, my teachers at Kindy suffered from the kindergarten trauma. I instigated it. Barracuda. I went to Placenta. Firefly. So German site. Nope, all American. Well, it's weird that they use the word kinder then, meaning childhood, meaning child. Did you expect to see this engine under the hood of this Ford truck? Hmm? This unibody four-wheel drive, probably on a Dodge chassis with this engine in it. That was a surprise. As long as you weren't married under a flax bush, as is the Maori custom. Barracuda. Let me ask you guys what you think. You see people that on Instagram and everything that they think they're special because they're gay or they're from a certain country or from whatever, instead of what makes them special is what they do. I don't think you're special because you're from New Zealand or from Australia or from Russia or whatever. I don't see how that could make you special since there's millions of other people just like you. But oh, I have to represent my culture. I have to represent this, represent that. No, you don't. You have to be your own person, and what makes you special is what you do. I told my son that too. You're not special. I told him when he was a kid, you're not special. You're not special at all. There's kids everywhere. You have to do something to make yourself special, and that's what he's doing right now with his medical thing. Medical thing. Dean, buried SP check error dang. Dean, placenta is buried under a cabbage tree. Firefly. Cummins diesel in a Chevy truck. That's a Ford no, that was a Ford unibody truck, 1961, 62. Very interesting build. Nobody would expect that engine under the hood. Very good. Sorry, typo. Play center. Oh, okay. That's a completely different thing. I'm special because I'm a handicapper. No, that doesn't make you special. My nationality doesn't help. It's okay, very good. I fly. Those are special narcissists. Oh yeah, there's too many of them. We are your fiends. We are your fiends. I think this is the only truck this guy has that he didn't do an engine swap in it, but he's wanting a lot of money for this truck. Hello, Josh. Mrs. Spec is asleep already. She got up today and she's only been asleep for like 4 hours today. Lucky I can make my own food after this. Spaghetti, spaghetti. My last bit of spaghetti I have left. Believe me, consensus from my workmates says it does. They bullet. You're a horse racing bookie, Dean. Stephen Andrews adjourned to Talking Cedars Distillery, looking at the Lancers radio, got the civil defense symbols at about 6:50 and 1300 a.m. Yeah, they had them on there. Didn't have to use them, but they were on there. Firefly, it's not what I say that's important. It's what I do that is. Batman. Batman. He says, I'm Juan out of the box. Stray bullet. You guys on these lives want to see the best of the best of these cars, or do you want to see ones that need work? There's only so many perfect vehicles out there, or what look like they're perfect vehicles in the pictures. Firefly forgot the raspy voice. And Batman. I don't do it as well as he did. Barry thinks he's quite special. What makes you special, Barracuda? What have you done? Here's a 66 Dodge Coronet in a very weird color. Somebody's really proud of this car. It's a Coronet 440, and I'll bet you never guess what he put under the hood. Tavo, you used to ride the short bus, Barry. Now he can repair the short bus. We need to see some patina cars. Like the station wagon from last week, the Chevelle station wagon, the Malibu station wagon. Cars that need work. Firefly is prone to fixer-uppers. No, bigger than that, Dan. It's a Coronet 440. So what do you think he put under the hood? He probably doesn't know that a 440 didn't come in that car. Maybe it did. I don't know. That looks purple to me. Bravo. That's mostly what special means down here. Nope, not a slant six, Firefly. It is a 440 under the hood. And he put a center console and a weird shifter and all kinds of stuff in a Coronet. I much prefer the 67 Mexican Coronet because it has the covered headlights or the flip around headlights. This thing just looks like a US car. Think bigger, Stray Bullet. Much bigger. Barracuda. Mom said I'm a special boy. That's what mothers are supposed to say. Your father's supposed to tell you the truth. I don't think any kid should grow up thinking they're special. That's very dangerous. I don't know what those headlights are. 440, Stray Bullet. The pictures already went by. Josh Holman must have had a 318 originally, or because it's a Mexican car, could have had a slant six. Those were the two options in Mexico. Right, Danny? You know that. No problem. You are a very heavy cat, you know. My leg is falling asleep. He put 440 on the fenders like that's the size of the engine and not the model of the car. If he had a Galaxy, he would have put a Cadillac 500 under the hood. I have like the Road Ripper optional package. Barracuda, as in Holden Special yours. Was that a different language? They bullet. That didn't look like a 440. Well, the air cleaner was a 440. I can't see the pictures too clearly, even on this television. And he has newer seats in there, all kinds of stuff. That's all negatives for me. I want to take money off the price because I need to find the original parts. And somebody molded a door panel for it. That's not original either. And not attractive. So maybe he just got a shell and he built the whole thing with parts as parts. This has the Mopar tax on it. It's not a cheap car. And here is a Chevelle. Definitely not an SS. Overbuilt. Hey man, thanks for joining us. Mrs. Spec is kind of asleep, so you've only got me this time. Okay, cat, time for you to go down. Oh, yeah, 1971, 454 with a stick shift in it. But I bet it didn't start off like that. Has anybody been watching the Tupac trial, Stray Bullet? No, I can't think of something that I care less about. Being special equals awkward. Is that a cucumber? Of a kid in my town, and I was. Wildfly. I wonder how many people 3D print engine size emblems for their so-called restored cars. You could buy them on eBay. There's all kinds of different numbers out there on the old style. Driveway. Chris says, kind of asleep. Glad to hear she enjoys your company. She's really tired because she works. Last night she worked until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and she had to be at the clinic at 8 o'clock for an X-ray of some kind, and then she came back and she went to sleep for a few hours, and then this started. Yeah, he was murdered 30 years ago. I know he's big in some areas, but I never thought much about it. Yes, overbuilt is here, so now everybody has to behave. Didn't they make these with 454s under the hood? They did, or at least the 70 they did. So why would it need that big, huge hood scoop thing on it? See, these cars were sold in Mexico in 2-door and 4-door, but they were all inline six cars. So this could have been built from a Mexican inline six car. Big Willie says he was murdered by complete idiots, and the Las Vegas cops were never really able to figure out who did it. No, they were completely worthless. I was there when it happened in Las Vegas. Gosh, probably at least half of the so-called classic cars out there today are really just new cars and old shells. Well, I hope it's not half, but those are, those you take off the list, and the rest of the ones, makes it a more of a rare car. Firefly, no medical jobs for me. Crazy hours, definitely. People get sick at the worst times. Overbuilt. LOL. I am chatty. My head hurts a bit, so well. I hope you feel better. Overbuilt. Stephen Andrews. I imagine the Chevelle is the money. Yes, he wants a lot of money for this car. These are all owned by the same guy. Firefly. Besides, they might object to a V8 powered heart. Label it. Only one of the murder conspirators is still alive, and they're going after him. Well, do they have any evidence? Because his conspirators certainly aren't talking. Somebody had to do some talking, you know? Kind of ridiculous. But if they have him in court, they're going to convict him one way or the other. Evidence really doesn't matter. 62 Mercedes with European headlights. That was a crazy night in Vegas after the fight. I think it was after a fight, wasn't it? That he got killed. Car pulled up beside him and just opened fire. He has been spouting his mouth about it for nearly a decade. Well, that's stupid. You got to compartmentalize when you do something stupid like that. You just put it away. There's a mouse in Barry's house. Mm-hmm. See, this kind of car, this car does not get me excited like an early 60s American car would. It just doesn't. Tyson knocked the shit out of Selden. Yeah, those the nights when Tyson was fighting there, we stayed in the house. You do not go out when Tyson was in town. You could not get anywhere. It doesn't matter where you were in town. You could not get anywhere. And then the night that he bit the ear off Evander Holyfield, oh my God, the town erupted. You weren't getting anywhere, no matter where you were. I was home an old Mercedes Benz. Some tin pot dictator somewhere would want this. I did buy one old Mercedes when I was in Vegas. It was a 73 220D. Um, of course, the diesel with a 4-speed manual transmission. The car just ran so well. The doors closed like they were brand new because it's a Mercedes, but they do not get me excited at all when I see them. Not at all. Yes, they are nice cars and everything, but they just don't get me excited like an American car would. That crazy moose is loose in the hoose. I'm no tin pot dictator, Pablo says. You're the dictator of your house. Don't let those cats get away with anything. Just like I don't let this cat get away with anything. Quiet. I'm working here. Stephen Andrews, tail fin Merc. Yeah. And it's amazing that they're in Mexico and they're in such nice condition. But I still just can't get excited about one of those. Overbuilt Mercedes, I like the 93 SL 500, SL 300 cars, 320. Cars built well, look good, like a Mustang, but better. I'm not brand loyal at all. E3. Yeah, it's there's 64s, 5, 6s. You know, I found some interesting cars. Chris says German cars tend to have a sterile feeling to them. Yeah. What I liked about my diesel Mercedes was that going up a hill, you put it to the floor, you fill up the freeway with black smoke, and everybody stays away from you. Josh says, now that is a neat car. Yeah, it is a very clean car. Again, it's a 4-door. So I don't know. Very, you've got one running the country, Tavo. Do that. I had quite a few 63 Mercuries, the Monterey. I had a 4-door sedan. I had a 2-door hardtop. I had an S55 2-door hardtop. I had the 390 rebuilt in that one. And I much prefer the toys on it, like the breezeway window and the way the dash looks and everything. I've never liked the reservoir separate from the radiator because it's like one extra thing to fail, you know, one extra hose that'll come apart or something. So I've never liked that, but that's the way they were in the early 60s in the Fords. And Overbuilt likes 4 doors. Yeah, just as long as I need a 4-door with a door lock on it, because when I have kids in the car, they're not allowed to open their own door until they turn 18. I did that with all of my son's cousins, the nieces. No, you're 17. You can't open your own door yet. I have to open the door for you. He says prerequisites. Only if it had a 6.3 single overhead cam Benz V8. It weighs 3 tons and you look like Idi Amin. Even a Mercedes limousine or even the convertible, the 4-seater convertible, they just don't do it for me. Firefly. I remember seeing a video on dating a German girl. What gets them interested is talking about politics. Oh hell no. No, you do not want to do that. Stephen Andrews. I like those 63, 4, 5 Fords. 63 and 64, yes. I don't like the 5. The 6 I like, 7 I don't, and 8 I like. Love that Galaxy. Is it for sale? Of course it's for sale, Barracuda. Of course it is. Danny's meowing at you. Can you hear him? Chris, Firefly, just tell them you want to invade the Sudetenland and they're putty in your hands. Josh, it would be for sale. Yep. Ha. Cabo. Back in the early 80s, when we gathered in our cars, one of the gang used to turn up occasionally in his dad's 600 Pullman. That's a very expensive car, but I saw one in Hawaii. Um, the trunk goes up and down by itself, and the story was it was Elvis's car or whatever previously, and somebody in transport forced it open and forced it closed, so it didn't work anymore. So, sorry, rebuild it. I'd like to LS swap a 240 diesel. That kind of defeats the purpose of it being a 240D. I've always liked the body style after the one I had, like you're saying, the 240D. That has always been my favorite body style of Mercedes. When I was in school, when I was in high school, all of the mothers that came to pick up their kids were driving 300 TDs from the south of the boulevard. All of them, the station wagons with the diesel in it. I do, however, think German is the perfect language to curse in. Every word sounds like it's a curse word. Barracuda, how much, bro? That's a good question. I'd have to go look it up. These aren't cars I have for sale because they're very expensive. But there are 63s and 64s here, quite a few of them, overbuilt. Would that mean you open my car door for me if I was under 18? I had my old car as a teenager. Yes, the kids that are in my vehicle with me, I have to open the door. They don't get the choice of opening the door themselves. Chris says the vile fly. I speak a modicum of German. The whole language sounds like you're swearing at people. I agree, Chris. Firefly, I would probably piss off my German date so I can hear her curse at me. She would probably curse at you in English so you would understand. Dan says to Chris, I was surprised by how many German words sound like the English words. Kinder means child. Barracuda, you don't hear the name Adolf these days. Unfortunately, I do. That's my friend's middle name, Adolfo. It's pretty common here in Mexico to have that name with the O on the end. I told him I will never call you that name. His name was Gustavo. I will never call you that name, your full name. Never say it. I mean, it'd be great dating on a German dating site. Hot beard, hot beard der film, 24, a student in Munchen. Overbuilt. That's weird. Are they crazy young people or what? Chris says that Dan, not uncommon since all of our language descended from Latin. Descend from Latin. It's the same in Spanish. There's a lot of words that are very similar. The accents are in different places, or they put the O or the A at the end, and it changes the word. Not that difficult if you know English to learn Spanish. If I can do it, anybody can. That's proof. Dean says, so, did you like the movie 24 Hours at Munich? How about, yeah, I'd have that Studi. Looks pretty nice. Looks like they rent it out for weddings and stuff like that. But where are you going to find parts for that in Mexico? I'm glad it has its original steering wheel on it, though. Too many of the cars here don't. Chris says to Dean, have you seen the movie 24 Hours in Munich? I think he's speaking another language. Quiet, I already scratched you a lot. Firefly, just imagine hate sex with a German woman cursing at me the whole time. It would be hard to stay hard while laughing maniacally. Like this 63 Dart. Ooh, Gran Turismo Hawk 63 also. Yeah, it's weird to find a convertible Dart in Mexico, but it's here. My bad, Chris. Thunderbird. Yeah, I love those back seats. Never sat in one, but I did see the picture. You see, it does have the tilt away, the slide over steering column, which is a good way to keep the car in park. because it locks it in park. Overbuilt, Thunderbird, Thunderford, love it. I like the 65 or the 66 because it has the sequential tail lights, turn signals. This one does not. The 64 does not. When I first got to Mexico, it was like a year after I got here. I saw one of these parked on the street, but it was stretched into a limousine. How they did that, I don't know because it's a two-door car. But I could have bought the car. Unfortunately, I didn't. Not sure where I would have parked it though. It's longer. It was longer than the front of my house. Swing away. There we go. Thank you, Dan. Chris says to Dean, such a pain sorting out the whole personal pronouns thing in German. Just avoid it. Dan, electromechanical sequential turn signals. Yes, and they always work. I don't think I've ever had one of those or seen one of those that didn't work. Dean, German is very advanced. Germans create laughs with a minimum of syntax. Ray Bullet, I'm surprised that some enterprising Mexican never got set up to restore steering wheels. No. And if they do, it's too expensive for these people to do it. There are places in the US that'll do it, and it does not seem like a very difficult process. But Mexican quality being what it is, I'm not sure I would want to redo one here. Just be quiet. You're not the center of attention. When I'm done with this, I'll make my spaghetti. When I'm done, you can lick the plate or half of it while Joey licks the other half. Okay? Take a nap. I went out of my way to put some Beatles in here for you, Chris. German women are good card players, Larry says. What makes them good card players? Poker faces? Dean, my friend has a German wife. The Germans are very funny. Said nobody ever. Or, my friend has a German wife. The Germans are very funny. Yeah, but looks aren't everything. Poor kitties. I mean, poor kitties. I always give them food off my plate. Or they can lick the plate or whatever, lick the bowl. Chris says, Mexican quality being what it is here, and he wants us to buy Mexican made cars from him. Yes, I do. But if they do something, I'm watching over them. I'm not just going to hand it off to them. Chris says, I had my F-250 steering wheel recovered, and it was kind of expensive. Recovered? What was it covered with in the first place? Isn't it plastic? Because they can add what is it? They can add the plastic back in and then sand it and then paint it and do whatever they need to do with it to make it look original again. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours, a lot of sanding to shape it. And if you have like on my 60, what car was it? Oh, like let's say a 68, 69 Chevy truck that has texture on the steering wheel, it makes it even more difficult. The boisterous Germans are funny. How did your F-250 have a leather wrapped steering wheel? What year is that F-250? Theme. They can also vacuum and take out your AC unit for free. No 100 Dutch marks charge. Overbuilt. You asked me, and I said nothing. Will you be faithful to her until death do you part? Is that a quote from something? What now? I will admit this is a very nice looking Mustang. Don't think it needs the hood scoop, but you gotta love a manual V8 Mustang. Chris says, generally speaking, Germans actually have a good sense of humor. It's just that the language makes everything sound so serious. Gray Bullet, I don't know if anyone does the rubberized wheels anymore. Rubberized? They weren't really rubberized. They were plastic. Or that, what was that? What was What was the material they used in the 50s? Stray bullet. It's the Lariat steering wheel. Oh, so it's a newer truck. Firefly. That cigarette car is just an awful thing. Cigarette car. Dean, what's wrong with you, my love? Uh, uh-huh. Is it always downhill from here? Uh-huh. Is it only what you understand that counts? Uh-huh. Should there have been a tune with that? Overbuilt. And YouTube translated it. Dumbass YouTube. Beer helps the humor. Maybe. Humor. Humor. Bakelite. Yeah, that's what it is, Tavo. Bakelite. That's really plastic, isn't it? They bullet rubberized for your for your tractor. Overbuilt. Ramstein, you have me. Dean says, FZ said, beer created martial law. Look at the Germans. Here's another Mustang, but it's a US car because it's a convertible and it does not have kilometers on the dash. But they want lots of money for this one. Stop looking at me. Go into the bed and lay down. We can fight over the pronunciation of that word, Barry. It's humor, not humor. Unlike modern plastics, Bakelite had zero flex tolerance. Yes, yes. But it looked nice. Was the Bakelite also the clear that Chrysler used on some of the cars? Ramstein, you have me. Gray Bullet. People restore old tractors here. California, they do everything. Jimmy Baker Light. Jimmy Baker Little. Dean. Stop looking at me, Cat. I did try to purchase some German yeast to brew with. 110 bucks for it. No freaking way. Holy pride price, Batman. Bakelite is a pretty bad material to make steering wheels out of. It is rather delicate stuff. Yeah, you can see that. That's why it's so amazing when you see one that's still intact from 70 years ago. I think I remember Dad's Ford Prefect had Bakelite in the dashboard. Could be, very. Tammy Baker had a lot on her plate and on her face. Lots on her face. Don't do what I think you're going to do. Go lay down. Go lay down. Some antique cars have wooden steering wheels. I see a lot of that around. Not originals, but people like to put wood steering wheels in place of the factory plastic ones, and I don't think they're thinking it through because the wood is not going to give way when your chest hits it. Definitely not. No, I'm done. Go lay down. Model Ts had leather clutches. I've never had a Model T apart. Can I have another piece of chocolate cake by Tim Finn? Chocolate cake. Or the YouTube disable live chat auto translation. I can't click that overbuilt. I'm watching this on a TV, so it's big enough for me to be able to see things. Malibu malls. This is, well, if you made the steering wheel out of a rubber tree, wouldn't really be able to steer, would you? Overbuilt. Found a how-to 1-minute video how to turn it off. Oh, okay. Oh, so you're talking about the translation thing. Okay. Oh, look at that. later. I hope I never. You hope you never what, Barry? Josh. In all fairness, until 68, almost no car steering wheels gave way at all in a crash. Nope, they didn't. And you didn't have shoulder harnesses either. Bravo. Have to see you again. Have to see you again. Firefly. I believe leather clutches were boiled leather has a wood-like property after boiling. Hopefully the cows know that. Barracuda again. Just like the shotgun blast algorithm overbuilt, if the background noise is dissonant. Or yeah, I only use PCs. Even the smart TV has an old Linux PC on it. How to turn it off? Curse in German. It's a song, Mexican Spectre, by Split Ends. I don't know who Split Ends is, so I sure as heck wouldn't know their song. Now this is a beautiful Valiant Acapulco. Beautiful. Beautiful car, beautiful color. 66. And 68 or maybe 67 was the advent of the collapsible steering wheels. Yeah, but they didn't go down very far, Dan. They're not getting out of your way in an accident. And if you're hit from the front, the steering wheels push back into your chest anyway. We've seen it on many crash tests. Off-white boiled leather was used as armor. Dean Barracuda is very cultured. Just because he's from your town, right? Chris says collapsible steering columns became required in the US in 1968. Linux. Some swear by it, others swear at it. You would get impaled by the steering column before that, Dan. Mm-hmm. Overbuilt. Hate spyware, all that TV's screen shots 50 times a second or so and reports it to manufacturers. So is yogurt, Chris says the dean. Oh, yes, yes. Barracuda. That song always reminds me of a 1981 Australian movie. You know it, Dean? Or Tavo? Does it have a name, Barracuda? Pardon grammar. Overbuilt. Dean. The pre-68 Spiro Spud steering columns. Stephen Andrews. Boneless fried chicken dinner. Boneless? Boneless. 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 Tavo. No, Barracuda. I can't make the connection. Dean. Don't give me culture. Look at that nice gear shift lever on the floor there in this Valiant Acapulco. How nice. Got a newer steering wheel, which doesn't belong, but still, how nice on this gear shift lever. GM introduced collapsible steering columns for 67. Others followed suit for 68. I have a 69 Chevy, but I'm not going to test it. Dan, the only cultures I'm interested in art in the dairy section at the supermarket. Dean, the knobs. Don't give me culture. Dean? Barry's asking Dean something. Every Valiant could look this nice. Ugh. It's all dressed up with the chrome and everything because it's the Acapulco version. Two-door hard top. So nice. Even shiny wheels. Ray Bullet. Those chicken must be all wobbly, Steven. No, they just kind of flop on the ground. Gosh. No, I wouldn't advise testing it either. Oh, not my thing. Right now the car is giving me ignition switch problems. It'll only start when you let off the key when it's turning, so I gotta fix that now. Well, closest thing we got to a collapsible column in Chrysler's over here was the E-body style crush can. Holden and Ford did the proper sliding tube type. Firefly. Okay, time to cook dinner. The others slept through the leftover salmon. Later, all. Good night, Vilefly. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow with the exact same cars on the screen. Very good. Puberty Blues, 81. Vilefly. Later. Overbuilt. Yeah, it's funny. My dad, new Spy TV, set it up, went into its mode for tracking. First thing I did was put on midget porn in search field and typed FU Samsung in next search. Got the message across, Overbuilt. Firefly. Here's cursing in German as he leaves. That's not from me. Why isn't Buff here to see this truck? It's his most favorite truck. 67 with the small window. This is, even though it's a long bed, it's a nice truck too. I'm not sure I'd want a black truck here though. Sitting down in my white Durango is hot enough. No license plate on it, but it has a license plate sticker on the window, which means it had a license plate. What color interior would you guys put in a black truck like this? The red seems out of place for me. Firefly, I didn't say anything. Chris. Stephen Andrews. Nice Barracuda. Overbuilt. Cool old truck like 64, C10, C20, C30 better. This is a 67. The first year for this body style, which became a very popular truck. Stray Bullet. Coil spring rear suspension. Gosh, at least it has a white top. Yeah, that would help. And covering up the seats and the steering wheel and everything helps even more. Dean says, Bulgarian midget wrestling goes in front of it, Overbuilt. It's very specific. Old GMCs are cool. Gray or black interior, not red. Another problem with the red interior here is that it fades in the sun. So it doesn't stay the red that you want it. Yeah, Josh, it's a US spec truck. The long beds were not sold here, and not with that bed. They had a very different style bed in 1967 here. It had a really low fender well on the bed, so it almost looked like it had fender skirts on it. How about we did something vaguely similar to a boss at work years ago. He wasn't at all computer savvy. We screenshot a midget porn page and set it up on his desktop. Did it take him a while to figure out what he was looking at? Buddy, black houndstooth like Camaro. Oh, maybe. And says, yours? At yours? I think I saved this Beetle here to put on my list because it's not a huge amount that he wants for it, and it looks like a very nice car. The difference between Chevy and GMC is the GMC has a leaf spring rear suspension. There was an actual difference in those years. I didn't know they changed anything but the hood and the steering wheel grill. Chris says to Tavo, back when computer mice had rollerballs, we take the ball out. I remember those. Very good. Puberty Blues is on YouTube at the moment. Is that something anybody would want to see, Barracuda? Overbuilt says the Dean. What about midget lesbian Nazi Eskimo porn? That's pretty specific, Overbuilt. That covers a lot of categories. How could it be Nazi and Eskimo? The Eskimo would not be accepted at all with the Nazis. Dean, that gets converted to a Klondike in Canada. Klondike pie in Canada. Bravo. Yes, Chris, and switch the buttons. You couldn't work that out either. Ray Bullet. And you could get the GMC 305 V6 in those trucks. Were they in the 67 models, or was that just the 66 and back? Stephen Andrews, more sweet Mopar A-body action. I'm looking at a Volkswagen Beetle, Steve. I think you're click on the live button on the screen and come up to where we are. If you like pubes, not a fan. Overbuilt. It's an oxymoron, I guess you call it. Not possible. Yeah. There are some neo Nazis here in Mexico, and they don't realize that they'd be the first ones to be offed if there were real Nazis around. So they're just idiots. 67 to 72 GMC trucks, really? Huh. Interesting. So I remember seeing the V6 emblems on the 66 and earlier body style trucks, but I don't remember anything on those. I had a 69 Chevy truck at one time with it was the aqua green color. Used it to tow a car trailer. I'm just not a truck guy. Being overbuilt is learning my bad habits. So far, Five Eyes in New Zealand's Government Communication Security Bureau, I teach them lots of things. Have they knocked on your door recently, Dean? 68 Galaxy Sports Roof. Guy's done some work on this. Made it a floor shift manual. Very cool. Actually, it's a good depiction of life in early 80s steak and kidney. You know, a lot of people have them Barracuda. Best at yield the ones you have. Neo-Nazi Mexicans, now that's a first, but not shocked. Cannot fix stupid. We don't have them around here. They're more in Mexico City, that kind of area. To use. Best to use the ones you have. Okay, that makes more sense, Dean. It's almost impossible to find one of these 68 Galaxies here in Mexico where the fenders are not out of shape, where it goes around the edges of the grill. Some of them are so bad. I don't know how all of them got like that. There's a really nice 68 Ford country sedan wagon here. You look all the pictures from the back, the sides, everything. When you get to the front, the hood's messed up, the grill's messed up, the whole front end is messed up on it. And that's very common here. Dean, last time I was walking past the neighbor's mag wheel Toyota Caribe. Yes. Overbuilt wants a 74 Celica. You should be able to find one. No smuttiness, please. Who's being smutty? Gray Bullet. They weren't very popular in the 67 to 72 trucks because you get the 350 and big block 402. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Why get the 6 cylinder when you can have the smoother with more power engine? It was the drone that crashed into my wheelie bin that got me missed, Mexican Spectre, but I put it on Facebook right anyway. Chris says to Barry, who's being smutty? There's been no mention of Mrs. Ecstasy in the last 10 minutes. Overbuilt. My ex-girl ain't here, so no smut. Ain't here, so no smut. Barry, Dean was being smutty. Was he? I must have missed it or lost in translation. Dean says, missed equals first, Dinglish discombobulation. This one's for Stray Bullet. He likes Datsun pickups for some reason. Chris says to Dean, please stop being smutty. You know how sensitive Barry is. Chris Tavo says, amber rear turn signals. Yeah, those are the generic tail lights that you put on um, like stake bed trucks and stuff. This doesn't have the original tail lights on it. Dean Barracuda sets a very high standard. Steven Andrews is swearing at somebody. Not sure who. Steven Andrews is cartoon swearing at somebody. Overbuilt. Sweet truck. Meow. I like that Mexican spec. Lots of blue in that thing. They must have taken it all apart, closed their eyes, and sprayed the whole interior. Meant the Galaxy turn signals. Yeah, they. I don't think it was original Tavo, but are you talking about the tail lights? No, I think that's just dirt or something in the reverse lights. They're not amber turn signals at all. I've seen those before. I always kept mine really clean. My reverse lights on my 68 Galaxy, really clean. So it didn't come up like that, but I'm sure it can be taken apart and cleaned. Bullet, my SSS engine would drop right into that truck. Really? Very good. Malcolm had a Datsun like that. Who's Malcolm? See, this is what I hate. A huge wheel with tiny little drums. What's the point? Especially on a truck like this. I just don't get the big wheel thing. I don't. Everything costs more. The wheels cost more. The tires cost more. No. Amber Heard, Barry. Bravo. Oh, okay. The pics made them look like an Aussie style. No, they're not turn signals. Those are reverse lights. Wet line. Shorty. Yes, it is. With a wood bed. Overbuilt. What kind of price do you have on that dot? I don't know. I didn't put the price on there, overbuilt. I'd have to go look it up. And you see the dinky drum brakes through those. Exactly. And they paint them a bright color so you see that they're tiny little brakes. I don't get the painting of the calipers and drums either. Make them black. They should not be standing out. That should not be the first thing you see when you look at the side of the vehicle. Well, it makes it ride even worse. Yes, there's no bounce. There's no cushion. The sidewall. That is silly big and a bad style 17-inch. All it needs. Doesn't even need that. Whatever came stock on it is what it needs. Amber Heard. Heard. Yes. I don't know any other Ambers. How about needs 16-inch narrow steelies? I have those in back of my house, and I don't think they're 16s though for that truck. I can redo them and paint them white with the wheel cover, hubcaps. Dar says dinky drum brakes were just the standard for the time. Yes, and you don't need to accent them by putting huge wheels that you could see everything and then paint the drums that bright chartreuse. What are you showing off there? It doesn't make any sense. Amber Laura Heard. Is that her middle name? She should have used her middle name. Overbuilt. Yeah, when they are stock drums on less brakes, they need to go into the trash can. And I dig my red calipers on my 05 GT. It sets off the black paint nicely. It'll look even better when you paint it dark red. Josh, true enough. Big bullet. Here's another small block Chevy swap candidate. Well, this one has the Jaguar engine in it still, so I guess it's running. Overbuilt. Where I live, I would smoke drums in short order. Oh, you're on a hilly area? That's what downshifting is for. Dean Stevenson singing. I'm not going to sing. He says Poetic Truth Before the Event by Billy Joel. Be the one that dot dot dot. Most of those Jaguars here have 350 conversions, and for good reason. But if this one is running well, it'll probably keep running well, except for all the accessories around the engine blowing out. I've never had a desire to buy a Jaguar. I don't care what model it was, and would never. The i6 and V12 Jaguar is easy to work on. They only look hard. There's a picture of the engine here. I don't know which one it is. Man smoke drum. Or the V12 can be great, uber simple. V8 and carb is not the fix for everything. Most of these it is because the parts are extremely expensive. That car will cost 7,000 to buy and then immediately need 7,000 worth of Jaguar dealership. Nobody would take this car to the dealership. I mean, chopped off Johnny Depp's finger. Yeah, that girl. Yep. This is a beautiful car and everything, but I've never had a desire to buy a Jaguar. Ever. I don't understand cars that you buy them and they're in the shop all the time, which Jaguars always are. That was the first thing this older dealer told me. The first job I ever had working for him and the other guys said, if you buy a Jaguar, it's not even going to get out of the driveway before something goes wrong with it after you buy it. And I said, yep, he's exactly right. He's playing out here. Come on, in here. Oscar, you're not getting food until I'm done, so stop scratching the door. He's supposed to get his food at 5 o'clock, but I'm in here at 5 o'clock, so he just has to wait. Overbuilt, yep. Build a 91 XJ. All the electronics are in a box. Thing is getting new ECU, FE box, and Floyd coil pack. Simple updates. I hope it works for you. And so did Leo Burnett advertising. Overbuilt 91 XJS coupe. They will look the 7,000 atheist local drunken British mechanic. Yeah. Very good. Why is it that most Jaguars I've seen have long grass around them? Because they never move. Gosh, the people that bought them had the money to burn on them. Yeah, the original owners. And earlier wheels. Chris says the berry because they're made of poop and that makes the grass grow. I actually like that Mustang, Tavo says. It doesn't look bad. Has all the right things in it, the gear shift lever, the wood steering wheel. You don't need anything else, just a good exhaust to listen to that engine. Bullet, are you a drunken British mechanic, Overbuilt? Guess who wants to come back inside? Guess who's back inside? Guess who's going to stay away from me or he's going to get kicked? Barracuda. Jags did very well in the 85 Bathurst race. What did they have under the hood? Being grass around them to start a business that allows for the Jaguars normal expenses. Gosh, Lucas Electronics. I guess that's not far off. Hope they make them better now. Do Jaguars even exist anymore? After that horrible advertising campaign that I hope everybody got fired over, who's going to go buy one? Overbuilt says, I say throw ECU in trash, slap a new one, slap in a new one. Same with a 90 Ford. Stuff is old, ECUs are cheap. If you know what to buy, use that box for it. I hope everything can talk to everything though, you know? They did. They got Bosch parts and devalued them with Lucas badge and part number. Should have kept the Bosch name on it. They bullet Jaguar race cars are always pretty cool though. Yeah, that's because they don't have any of the smog stuff on it. That's what kills the cars. Overbuilt to stray bullet. Keyboard is dirty and I got a headache. Keyboard. Even under electrical issues usually keep Jags parked more than mechanical. Yeah, but it all adds up. Barracuda V12 XJSs. Walkinshaw Racing. They were racing V12s. Huh. Bravo. But those, like the one pictured, 70 Series 2, were built by British Leyland to British Leyland quality long before the Ford days. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a beautiful car to look at, but I would never want one. I would never buy one. Even to resell it, I wouldn't buy one. Because the guy that's coming to buy it is going to know the whole history of it, too. So, no thanks. I've seen a lot of Chevy conversions in those Jaguars. That's what kept them on the road. I don't know how they ever got registered since the engine switch like that would be an illegal engine exchange, according to the EPA. But somehow they got it registered. Dar says, yes, Ford did a lot to clean up Jaguar build quality after the mess that was British Leyland. I remember those cars that they brought out, the Type S, I think it was, and the stereo that was in the Jaguar had less features than a Ford Focus. The same stereo in the Ford Focus, it had more features than the stereo in the Jaguar. I always thought that was funny. Yeah, the convertible is in nice shape. It's a U.S. car brought into Mexico at some point because we did not have convertibles here. Dean says, just fed the Maxi Taxi, my neighborhood feral cat. Unlike the Morris or Austin Maxi, he has no Lucas parts, so he keeps coming back. Good. Unless he eats a Lucas part. Overbuilt. People think too much. Most all sensors will work, but GM is default 5-wire TPS sensors and all normal trigger for crank. Not that hard to learn. Most ever the setting point and click. I'm trying to decipher what you're saying, Overbuilt. That my mom had a Range Rover. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Did she have a lot of problems with it? Very. I like the idea of the late 90s, 2000s aluminum bodied Jags. We give Range Rover a lot of crap because they do have a lot of problems. But whenever you see one at Copart or something, it's got like 250,000 miles on it. So it had to have been working or built. Some Jags are very reliable, like a 2008 Jaguar XK 4.2 liter V8 car, four doors. Eh, big bullet. He's drunk. Who's drunk? Scene. Josh Homan. Browns Lane still had standard Triumph line Honan casting equipment from 1934 in the factory, making twin cam XK engines, same bore spacings. Jaguar never reinvested its profits. Gosh, the real old Range Rovers were quite good. Yeah, but then you got smog equipment and electronics and everything, which is what kills them. But you always see high miles on them, so either somebody spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it to 250,000 miles, or they just get to a point and just everything breaks at one time. Gray Bullet, I don't think there was a fluid that it didn't leak among all the electrical problems. I don't mind fluid leaks. We all have fluid leaks. Makes sense. British Leyland was a mess, Josh said. Yeah, everybody knows it. The reason for Jaguar's purchase was simple that Ford couldn't help but do better than British Leyland. Will refine some of the body creases on that Maverick. It's very much like a 72 XA Falcon down under. This is a bit of a sleeper with the 289 under the hood and the 3 on the tree. This is a red car. Well, the Maverick had a 289 and a 3 on the tree. This one's an automatic. This Duster. But he says, had an aunt, never did any maintenance on her car, then claimed they sold her junk. There's a lot of people like that around. Like yesterday, you see, there's a lot of people's court cases. I bought a car and it broke down. I want my money back. Well, you bought it as is. Did you have a mechanic check it out? No. I took it to a mechanic after I bought it. Well, sorry, can't help you. This case I saw today, it was a Chrysler, a Dodge Intrepid or something like that, one of those cars. And he said in the ad, the mechanic says it needs a water pump. It overheats. It overheats. It overheats. He told her that beforehand. And she had the car for a while and then um, wanted him to give her her money back. And he was like, no, I can't do that. The car is sold as is. And then the case got thrown out because he gave her $400 back and on a copy of the title put in the margin that the money was given back and the car was sold as is and everything. So on her copy, she whited out the part that said as is and presented that to the judge. And the judge saw what he had where it said as is, and he threw her out of the out of the courtroom. Gray Bullet. Hers made around 120 with about $20,000 worth of repairs. I practically gave it away when she passed. Yeah, there's a lot of money spent on those overbuilt XK, XKRs. That car style end up building a top shelf CAN bus. Blah, blah, blah. Find a drill with just parts, just junkyard parts hack. Dean. The Zena Stromberg carbs, old 4-speed Leyland gearbox, and Lucas ignition did that Barracuda. Overbuilt. People are dumb, sue over everything. Yeah, even when it's their own fault. But then she falsified documents to the judge, like the judge wasn't going to see it. She didn't even white it out correctly. Barracuda. When Ford owned Jaguar, did they have Ford V8s? Overbuilt. Yes. Dean. The Buick V8 was reasonably reliable if it had antifreeze changes. Who changes antifreeze? Gray Bullet. I like those Land Rovers that are like Jeeps. They're always rusty around here, though. Dean. No, similar but not same. The X-Type V6 was Ford, though. X-Type. Barry. The engine was the only good part then. Gray Bullet. That was the only good part of the whole vehicle, Dean. The aluminum Buick engine. Overbuilt. Yeah. If you cannot fix stuff, research stuff that goes wrong, head it off before it breaks, then bills are high to fix anything. Yeah, all cars are like that. Stephen Andrews reminds me, Dean, I should change the coolant in the Lancer. Dean, the Jaguar desire to add value to a Ford Mondeo caused some market rejection, especially since it was also four-wheel drive. We don't like Ford Mondeos here. Overbuilt. Damn it, Caps Button, sorry. We're used to it here. You know who types in caps all the time? Hmm. Well, we're getting to the end here, and I've had to do all the talking here, so my throat is sore. I have to go make my dinner and eat something I've been holding off, so I'm able to eat my whole dinner. Oh, see the front seats in the Citation? The sun faded the red out of the fabric. The rear seat is still red, but the front seats are completely faded. That's what happens to red interiors here. I think Citations get a bad rap. If they've lasted this long, all the problems they had have been worked out. The brake problems, all kinds of stuff, any quality problems. This being an 84, it still has the vertical radio in it. 85, they moved it to to the dash, the regular radio. Overbuilt says Jaguar has place cooling in its vat, sales metal ones, fix it before it breaks, killed engine, lots of cars like that. 3.6 liter Jeep. There's another with eBay metal parts to fix cheap plastic. But, but if you don't know about engines, you don't know you're supposed to do that. Or it says transaxle problems. Why would the citation have a transaxle problem when the celebrities and everything else that came after it, basically the same vehicle, didn't? Barry, I'd like to have an XJ13 Jag. The one. You're right, Chris. My microphone did die. I had to get Mrs. Spec's microphone to say goodbye. Appreciate everybody being here. Overbuilt says, I'm a whore to learn stuff. It gets me in trouble. Know it all. Know it all asshat, they say. That's better than not knowing anything. It's better to be better be a smartass than a dumbass. Can you hear me now? It's back. Yeah, I had to get Mrs. Spec's microphone and turn it on. So good night, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. Overbuilt, our mod. None of the members were here, and none of you became members, so none of you are green. We will see some of you tomorrow, and hopefully you have a good night. Adios.